Hello and welcome to your yoga class with me today. I'm Sarah Barghigian. This is going to be a class that I have had in mind for a few days now, particularly for people who are feeling a little bit displaced. My son is going to be getting on a plane next week, going to university for his first year of study. And I've been thinking a lot about all of those people who are going to be leaving home for the first time and perhaps are going to be feeling a little scared, a little lonely, going into the unknown. In fact, this is a class for anyone who wants to feel a little bit more grounded and connected to their surroundings and to themselves. And I hope that you feel you can come back to this class time and again whenever you're feeling flighty, worried, anxious, alone. We're going to be working very much on grounding. I'm also going to lead you through a lovely shavasana, and we'll begin with some breathing. So I want you please to get a towel or a blanket and to fold it so that it's sort of long and thin. So in Iyengar yoga, this is called a trifold, just so that it's more or less like this. You're going to lie over this. So have this going down your mat and sit just ahead of it. Keep your knees bent the whole time with your feet on the floor. And with your tailbone right at the front here, lie down and make sure that your head is still on the towel. If your towel is long enough, you can even double it over so you've got a little bit more height for underneath the back of your head. Bring your arms down by the sides with your palms facing up. Make sure that your feet are really on the floor. They're on your sticky mat if you happen to have a yoga mat, so that they really stay in place. And let your shoulder blades drop down the sides, the left and the right sides of your towel. Close your eyes. Now begin to breathe with more purpose, more depth. Breathing in deeply and exhaling slowly. Take a few more of these breaths where you're really feeling the back of your ribs pressing down into your blanket, into your towel when you inhale. And when you exhale, you're pressing out all the air from your lungs. Whenever your mind wanders away and you think of other things, keep bringing it back, coaxing it back to focus on your breathing. Now finish this exhalation, and to the count of 4, inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 4, 3, 2, 1. Do 2 more breaths in your own time like that. When you've finished the final exhalation, breathe normally and open your eyes. Roll over onto your side so that you can come up into a kneeling position. Put your blanket or your towel to the side, off your mat, but close by. And sit onto your heels with your big toes touching side by side and your knees slightly apart. Bring both of your hands around your left knee, ahead of your left knee. Inhale deeply again and raise your heart. As you exhale, drape your rib cage over your thigh and walk your hands forward, straight elbows, and bring your forehead either to the floor or reach around for your towel and put your forehead onto that so that you can rest your forehead onto something. Be aware here of where your body is in contact with the ground, the palms of your hands, your forehead,
Your knees, your shins, the tops of your feet, even your toenails. And let yourself surrender to that connection. You press down with your hands and feel where your body is in contact with the ground. Feel yourself being held. And come back to breathing deeply and slowly. Not to the count of 4, but just with ease and fluidity. Now raise your head. You're going to go to the other side now. So if you used a towel or a blanket, move it over now to the right. Raise your head, raise your chest, and as you exhale, again, drape the right side of your rib cage over your thigh. Reach your arms strong. And again, come into focusing and feeling and realizing where your body is in contact with the ground. You'll find that your mind wanders away, you get flighty, you think of other things, but keep bringing your attention, your focus back to being aware of where your foundation is. And breathing deeply into the base of your lungs and into the back of your heart. So let your upper body puff up a little bit as you inhale. And release and soften as you exhale. Raise your head again. Walk your hands back. Move your towel over to the side. And come into hands and knees. So orientate yourself on the mat so that your little fingers are right at the edges of your mat and your index fingers are pointing forwards. Knees point forwards, kind of lined behind your wrists, and your toes are pointing back. Now round your back so that you come into cat pose and you're lengthening all the muscles running down the sides of your spine. And do the opposite of that. Do a back bend. Lift up your sitting bones and raise your chin. Keeping this back bend, tuck your toes under and pick up your knees. Now let your head hang and look down towards your feet, towards your toes as you start to straighten your legs and come into downward facing dog. If you want to keep your knees bent, please feel free to do that. Make sure that your toes are all pointing forwards. Now move your body weight forwards and come into plank. Bring your knees down to the floor and bring all of your body down. Try and bring it all down in one go, landing your thighs, your pubic bone, your belly all at once. Then straighten your legs. Bring your toenails down to the floor. Push your hands down and peel your chest up, coming into Cobra. Squeeze your shoulder blades towards each other on your back. Press your legs towards each other, and here notice where your body is in contact with the ground. Now it's the front of your legs. Press them down to raise your heart up. Very courageous lifting of your chin, looking forwards. Tuck your toes under, go back to downward facing dog. Lift up your belly to help pick up the weight of your pelvis as you lift up your sitting bones. Now slightly bend your knees and look forwards. Walk your feet to the top of the mat. Don't worry about your flexibility here. Please feel free to bend your knees as you press your fingers down into the floor. Come into a standing forward fold, feet wide apart. Now to come up to standing, bend your knees, bring your hands onto your hips and keep them on your hips as you hinge up. And bring your feet together. Bring your hands down by your sides. Good. Turn your palms out to the side walls and bring your arms up overhead. Now bring your hands halfway down and interlace your fingers so that you press the palms of your hands towards the screen. Now bring your arms all the way up. Press your hands up as you push your feet down. Squeeze your legs. Now bring your arms and your upper body over to the right as you press your left foot down. Turn your ribs up a little bit more towards the ceiling, but keep looking down at the floor, maybe 2 or 3 meters ahead of you if you've got that space. Otherwise, just make sure that you're focusing your eyes, grounding, stabilizing. Inhale, come up. And as you exhale, go to the other side. Keep pushing your hands away. A simple pose, right? But not easy. Turn your chest up a little more to the ceiling, but again, look down. You're moving your body up into the world, but you're keeping your gaze focused and grounded. Now come up. Bring your hands down. Turn your palms towards you. Then separate your fingers and interlace your hands now behind your back so that your palms are still facing in and your knuckles are pointing down. Now straighten your arms, raise your heart, open up your chest. Again, slightly look down, squeeze your legs. And here with your chest really open, you might feel that you can really breathe with more ease. We spend a lot of time rounding our upper back as we sit down, as we're working in front of a computer screen. Here, you're opening up your chest and strengthening the muscles in your upper back that often become loosened and overstretched and weakened. Now release your hands, and as you do this, do it really slowly so that you can touch your middle fingers towards each other and even press in a little bit. Then release your hands, bring your hands down by your sides. Good. Now bring your arms ahead of you, bend your knees and slowly come down into a squat. Bring your hands down to the floor, bring your knees down to the floor and sit onto your feet. Shift your body weight over to one side and bring the soles of your feet together. Your hands on the floor behind you so that you come into Badakanasana. Press your feet together quite firmly here. Lengthening the inner thighs, squeeze your bottom to help you get a little bit more strength and tone on the outsides of your legs so that you can lengthen the inner thighs. A couple of breaths here. Lift your rib cage up a little bit more away from the floor. Notice if you're leaning over to one side. And try and sit as centrally and as calmly as you can, using your arms to push your body weight forwards. Now bring your knees up and bring your left leg over to the side, pointing your toes. Bring this leg down and keep the right leg in this position. It's kind of like you're doing a zigzag here with your legs. And again, sit as centrally here as you can. You'll probably feel that your left sitting bone is coming off the floor a little bit here, but ground it down gently. As you sit tall, press your feet down into the floor. Stay here, or possibly coming into a little bit of a twist and a forward fold. Take your hands up, turn your chest towards your right knee. Bring your hands down to either side of this knee, and maybe come down a little bit more. This left buttock will come up, that's okay. But let that lower left side of your back release and lengthen. Now come up if you were down. We're going to come to the other side of the zigzag. So lean back, pick up this left knee, change sides. So you're pointing both feet like a ballet dancer. You'll feel that this side is a little different. It might be easier, you might feel more grounded, or perhaps a bit more of an uplift. Bring your hands onto both knees and get tall. Try and relax this right leg and the right hip. Stay here if this is already quite challenging, or pick up your hands, turn to the left, bring your hands down and fold over. Keep your abdominal muscles engaged when you do this, so that you can release and let go of the right lower back that little bit more. As you inhale, come up if you were down. Lean over a little bit to the left so that you can pick up both of your knees and come back into a squat. So from here, move your body weight forwards.
balance. Squeeze your legs together and come up to standing. Try and do this as seamlessly as you can. So you're coming up against gravity with strength and as much poise as you can muster. Good. Now, feet together, tree pose. Turn your right leg out, bring your leg up, and place your foot above your knee or below your knee, but not on your knee. And if you have a wall nearby and you're feeling very wobbly, you can place your left hand, or your right hand, it doesn't really matter, but the left hand is easier, onto the wall. Whatever you're doing, push down through this left foot, really root down, and bring your hands into your heart. Now extend your arms out to the side with your palms facing down. Bring your hands back into your heart. Inhale here. And as you exhale, push your hands away like you're pushing away any negative thoughts, any feelings of worry. As you inhale, bring your hands back into your heart, gathering in the good. And as you exhale one more time, release, press away anything that doesn't serve you. Bring your hands back to your heart and keep them here. Take your foot away and place it down. Bring your hands to your hips. Let's do that on the other side. Turn the left leg out. Bring your leg up as you stamp your right foot down. And again, a wall nearby, please use it so that you can maintain the pose. And bring your hands into your heart. Take a breath as you push your foot down. Reach up through the center of your head. Get tall. Stretch your arms out, palms face down, relax your shoulders. Inhale, bring your hands into your heart. And as you exhale, release, expand, let go. Inhale the good. Exhale again, release. Bring your hands back to your heart and keep them here. Bring your hands to your hips. And place your foot down. Now widen your legs right to the edges of the mat. Well, no, not that far actually. About as far apart as when you bring your arms out, you feel like your feet are underneath your wrists. We can adjust this in a minute as needed. Don't worry too much about the distance, but do make sure that you haven't got one foot further ahead than the other. Now look over at your right hand. Then pivot on your right heel and turn your right toes forward to the short edge of your mat. From here, slowly bend your right knee, so you're coming into Warrior Two pose. Straighten your back leg and push both of your feet down as you look over your right hand. So you're choosing where you're looking here. You've decided you want to look over your right hand. Soften your gaze. Now interlace your hands behind your back here. Draw your shoulder blades towards each other and bow forward inside that front right inner thigh. Possibly grazing your rib cage into the inner thigh. So they're connecting, they're pressing in towards each other as you bow your head. Now release your hands, let your fingers separate, and bring your hands to either side of your front foot as you pick up your back heel. Step back into plank. Push the floor away. Be really strong here. Draw your navel in. Squeeze your legs. Bring your knees down to the floor. Come all the way down, like a plank dropping. Try and land everything at the same time as you press your shoulders to your hips. Now curl up into Cobra. Make sure your feet are on the floor and you're pressing your feet towards each other. And go back to downward facing dog. Tuck your toes under and press back. Take some breaths here. Calm and even. Smoothing your breaths out as if you were breathing in and out through a straw, forcing you to take in your breath in a very steady way. Now walk your hands all the way back towards your feet and stay here
Feet nice and wide apart. Again, in this standing forward fold. Bend your knees. Bring your hands to your hips. Come up to standing. And again, turn towards the screen if you're not already, and widen your feet. Stretch your arms. Hands as far away from each other as you can. Relax your shoulders. Look at your left foot. Turn your toes to the short edge of your mat, and then look over your left hand. Bend your left knee. When you do this, just check that your knee is really going over the middle toes of this left foot. Push down through the little toe edges of both of your feet. Check that you're not leaning your whole body weight forwards, that you feel like your shoulders are over your hips. Interlace your hands, the awkward clasp, the non-dominant clasp behind your back, preparing for humble warrior. Draw your shoulder blades towards each other, and then as you move the right ribs forward, bow down. Push your back foot down with more purpose here, as you're putting all of your body weight here on that front leg, so use the back leg to help distribute your weight back a little bit here. Now release your hands. Bring your hands to either side of this left foot, pick up the back heel, and step back into plank. Bring your knees down to the floor, and again, slowly come all the way down. This time, when you land, pick your hands up and bring your hands by the sides of your body with your thumbs down. Push your feet down, push your toenails down as you raise your throat and raise your shoulders away from the floor. Now pick up your hands and reach your fingers towards your feet as you keep pressing your feet down. Keep looking down at the floor, maybe 20 centimeters ahead of you, not raising your chin too much here. And then for the last breath, pick up your legs and squeeze your legs towards each other. 3, 2, 1. Now bring your feet back down again. Bring your hands by the sides of your ribs. Go back to downward facing dog. Tuck your toes under. Make sure your feet are apart. And press back. Now walk your hands all the way back towards your feet. Bend your knees, bring your hands to your hips. Come up to standing. Now, bring your feet together. For a standing thigh stretch, bring your hands onto your hips and bend your right leg. Grab the base of your shin and draw your knee back as you squeeze the left leg and push the left foot down like you did in tree pose earlier. Imagine there's a laser pointer coming out of your right knee. Try and point it straight down. And maybe move this right hip point a little bit more forwards. Keeping the foot high, take your hand away and lower your foot down to the floor. Let's do the other side. Pick up the left leg. Try and stand tall. Laser pointer through the knee. Left hip point forwards, raise your heart. Keep drawing your navel in so your abdominal muscles are holding you. Take your hand away, keep the foot high, and slowly bring your foot down. Good. We're going to do a little bit of a stretch on the soles of the feet before we come back up again. So again, come down slowly into your squat, descending. Bring your hands down to the floor. Now, keep your toes tucked under as you bring your knees down and sit onto your heels. So you're stretching the soles of your feet. Make sure that your little toes don't go rogue. Keep moving them forwards. If this is horrible, bring your hands down to the floor so you're putting more weight forward and less weight onto the soles of your feet. We're going to be here for about 10 more seconds. If you can sit onto your heels, do. I'm putting you under stress here on purpose. We're getting that added benefit of stretching the plantar fascia of your feet, but also in an exercise to not make the rest of your body react when part of your body is being challenged. Try and relax your shoulders and come back to the breathing, that deep, calm breathing.
I know this is longer than 10 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Now pick up your seat, bring your hands to the floor, go back to downward facing dog, step back. So one of the things in yoga is you're putting your body into some uncomfortable postures often. And you're learning how to react to that with grace and with calm, with equanimity. Like in life, we get put into stressful situations. Very rarely are all the areas in our life calm and balanced and even and going well. There's always something going wrong. But we try not to let that affect everything else and ruin the whole day just because one thing or two things are not going the way that we would like them to. Walk your hands back towards your feet again. Bend your knees, bring your hands onto your hips and come up to standing. Good. Now, we're going to do some poses where you're going to be lengthening the front of the hips a lot because we so often are like this and the front of the body gets very tight and the back of the body gets quite weak. So come into downward facing dog. This is going to be good. And bring your feet together. Raise your right leg behind you for three-legged dog. Try and keep both of your legs straight and strong. Now come forward with your chest and bring your knee with you, your right knee with you, as you round your back and keep that right leg well off the floor. So your abdominal muscles are carrying the weight of your right leg. Now step your right foot forward in between your hands, and you can use your right hand to help that movement forward as you bring your back knee down. And maybe bring that back knee and back foot back a little bit. And if your toes are tucked under like mine, change that and bring your toenails down to the floor. Now bring your left hand flat and turn the hand a little bit out to the left side of your mat and bring your right hand onto your right leg as you turn your right toes a little bit to the right side of the mat. Now draw your left ribs under as you twist. Now please feel free to stay here with your back foot on the floor, or possibly, as long as you're not putting all your weight on your kneecap, bend that leg and grab the foot with your right hand. Now I've got my weight on the soft muscle of the quadricep muscles, not the kneecap. So if you're on your kneecap, put the foot back down on the floor. You can always come back to the sequence time and again, and as you get more flexibility, then you can start doing that business of grabbing the back foot. Whatever you're doing, turn your chest, but keep looking down at your right foot. So even though you're turning your body to the side, you're still looking down. It's kind of symbolizing again that you're moving out into the world, but you're still grounded, connected to yourself, reliant on yourself. Staying calm. Now, if you've got that back foot, release it now. Bring the back foot down to the floor. And I want you to move everything so the toes are pointing forwards. You've got your hands either side of your front foot. And pick your back knee up and keep that back leg straight. Push both feet down as equally as you can. Then go back to downward facing dog. So bring your left hand flat, step the right foot back. You'll notice now that the left and the right hips feel very different. Let's do all of that on the other side. So bring your 2 feet together and raise your left leg for three-legged dog. Try and keep that leg parallel to the floor. Bring your knee to your nose. So again, we're doing that abdominal strengthening work, picking the knee up, picking the foot up. Then step your foot in between your hands and a little over to the left. Bring your back knee down. Another trick you can do here is to double up your mat so that that kneecap gets some cushioning, or if you've got a towel or that towel nearby you, reach around and get that if you need to. Right hand flat, turn the right hand a little out to the right and the left foot out to the left. Bring your left hand onto your knee and start the twist. So you're drawing the right ribs towards your inner thigh as you lean slightly back. Bring the back knee and the back foot back a little bit and stay here. Or, as we did before, pick up the back foot. Reach around with your left hand, get the foot, get the inside, and that will make it a little bit more accessible for you to grab and to hold as you then turn. Press your front foot down and back slightly to your back knee. Remember, you don't have to hold this foot. You can keep the foot on the floor and still do the twist. Keep looking down at your left foot. 3, 2, keep your breathing steady. 1. Release that back foot if you've got it. Bring the toes down. Move the left foot more centrally. Bring fingertips of both hands on the floor and pick up your back knee. Straighten your back leg. Stay here. Squeeze your bottom. See if you can move the right hip more forward and the left buttock back. Downward facing dog. Flatten the right hand and step that left foot back. Now bring your knees down to the floor and sit onto your heels. Get your blanket or your towel, whatever it is, and I want you to fold it so that you can then make a roll, like a big fat sausage here, which you're going to put on your mat like this, so that it's towards the front of the mat. And then watch for a moment here. I'm going to keep my knees bent and my feet on the floor the whole time as I bring the bottom tips of the shoulder blades, that bottom bit of the triangular part of the scapula, onto the top of this. So, moving around so that it's not on my neck, it's not in the middle of the back, it's kind of in the middle of that hunchback. And then you can either bring your head down to the floor, or, I like to do this, interlace your hands, making a hammock for your head, so that the weight of your head helps you to open up your chest that little bit more. Your arms are forced to open and the elbows drop down towards the floor. And as you stay here, press your tailbone towards your heels and really let your upper back rest. Let your entire body be held as you let your upper back form around the blanket. Let it take on the shape of being pressed up and released. I'm going to stay here for about 30 seconds more, about 5 or 6 more breaths, and make those breaths long. Notice how when you inhale, it presses the upper back down into your blanket. Keep your face soft and your jaw relaxed. You may find over time you're better able to drop your arms down. Now to come out of this, strengthen your arms, tone your arms, bring your elbows up towards the ceiling and pick up the weight of your head. Now release the interlace of your hands and move on to the side so that you can take the blanket away and lie back down again. Cross your right leg completely over your left leg. Pick up your knees, bring your left hand onto the first knee, your right hand onto the knee that's further away, and release the lower back here. Let the tailbone come up. Turn your feet a couple of times so you're putting your ankles through their full range of motion, and change direction. And let your feet be still as you relax your shoulders. The only thing that's really working here is the grip of your hands. Now that you've been here a while, see if you can maybe peel your lower back up off the floor that little bit more, but keep your head down. Now take your hands away, uncross the right leg and cross the left leg over. You can use your hands to help you
get your legs into position here. I quite often need to get that top calf muscle moving up a bit towards the ceiling. And then your hands go on your legs again. Don't twizzle your feet this time. Just let your ankles and your feet be relaxed and still. And again, you may find after being here some time, you can peel your tailbone up off the floor that little bit more, get a little bit more of a stretch in your left hip and the right. You'll feel it on both sides. And do notice if you're leaning over to the left or the right, try and lie evenly down your back. Relax your shoulders. Now take your hands away, bring your hands to the floor, uncross that left leg, bring both of your feet down to the floor. And lengthen your left leg long down the mat and then your right leg so that you can completely relax lying down. If you feel like your chin is up high, please grab your blanket or your towel and put it underneath your head so that you're really supporting the back of the neck. There's no negative space underneath the back of your neck. In fact, I'm going to do that if you're not sure what I mean. And that the top of the blanket, or the base of the blanket rather, is touching the tops of your shoulders. You're really held. And then make sure that your arms and your legs are about the same distance away from the center line of your body on the left and the right side. So you haven't got one hand closer into your body. Let your fingers loosely curl. If your fingers are straight, your hands aren't relaxed. Let your fingers become loose fists. Palms face up. Relax your shoulders, your neck. Let your your jaw slightly hinge open. And soften around your mouth and your eyes. Let your feet turn away from each other. And as you lie here, softening your body, let your body surrender to the earth, like you're being held by Mother Earth. And remember that you're warm, you're fed, you're safe, and you're loved. Feel that, remember that. And notice as you're being held by the ground that you're connected to everything, not just the ground, but to everything around you. Soften the boundaries of your body, literally. Release the boundaries and the outer layers of your skin. Let yourself realize that you are at one with the universe. You're not separate. Soften and relax. And I'll let you know in about a minute when it's time to come out. Now bend your knees one leg at a time, so now the soles of your feet are in contact with the ground. Roll over onto your right side and stay here. Let the side of your head rest in your arm or onto your blanket. And notice here that the side of your body is being held. And also notice how you feel, how your body has responded to all the poses. Slightly changed. Notice the energy, the prana around your hips and your shoulders is moving a little more smoothly, with a little more calm and more fluidity. And notice how that makes you feel. Now press down with your left hand and then your right. Bring yourself to sit up cross-legged, nice and tall as you can. And bring your backs of your hands onto your legs and separate your fingers wide. Press your hands gently down as you raise your heart. Close your eyes if you haven't already. Notice if you're leaning over to the side or forward or back, and sit as centrally as you can, raising your heart with courage. Your hands in this position signifying that you're accepting all that life brings you. Moment by moment, meeting the challenges and meeting the moments of joy and fun. Recognizing that all things pass, and that we must enjoy. It's our duty to be very present, to enjoy, and to recognize each moment as it comes. You're not alone. Bring your hands into your heart. Lower your chin so that it touches your fingertips. Release your hands and bring now the palms to face down onto your legs. Gently press down. Raise your chin. Open your eyes. Namaste. Now before you go, I want you please to look at this video here where I'm reading a poem by David Whyte. This is a lovely poem that you can come back to time and again, and it reinforces this whole concept that I'm trying to push to you, that you're not alone, you're connected to everything. It's a great poem. David Whyte is a British poet. He's still writing stuff. It's an easy, very accessible poem. So go there. And come back to this sequence anytime you want to have a nice opening up of your body, to be calmly, I hope, led through a basic yoga sequence that will get easier and easier the more you do it. You might have found this very challenging, but the more you do it, the easier it will become. I hope you have a great day. Please remember to subscribe, and namaste.